Hey there, today's Monday and I am ready for another power-packed week of daily videos trying to get this old Porsche 911 on the road again. Wish me luck. Today's video, I'm trying to do something about this remote oil cooler just flopping around. So I want to secure it up to the car and also work out the plumbing. Just wrapping up these oil lines with these little bags so I don't get any debris in the oiling system. That's about where the bumper goes. I had drilled some alignment holes to position it after I'd done a bunch of work on these, and it needs the rubber between here, so it's not in the perfect position, but this is good enough for fitting the oil filter. You see, these fiberglass bumpers do have the mounting bracket to the car. However, I never did drill holes into the chassis to mount using kind of the factory style locations. So I may do that now and also use those new holes to attach a bracket to mount the oil filter. So this is a pretty giant oil filter, but I think I can make a bracket that would put it maybe like right here, or if I turned it this way, I could angle it up a little bit. Let me put the turn signal housing in too, because that takes away some of the space. That housing is really big. There is going to be some oil lines coming close to the tire, but I'll try to shroud them with something. I think right here is ideal. Before I drill that hole, I'm going to check. I have a factory bumper and I just want to look at the hole spacings. So if I do put holes in my car, at least it would fit a factory bumper if I ever wanted to go to a metal bumper. Okay, yeah, this is a factory steel bumper for a short wheelbase car. I'm trying to sell this one, I don't need it, but what I'm looking for is the position on this bracket. Just get the location of those holes. These holes are slotted anyways, so I'm going to drill that hole at 14 and then mark the car and put some nuts in the car. Just going to mark these holes. There's a little refresher look of what it looks like with the taillight and the bumper in. The taillight housing is not screwed in, it's just sitting there. There's still a lot of body work to do on this part just to make it smooth for paint. See some real heavy scratches in it and stuff. So another day. I also, if you remember, filled in the exhaust cutout here. And the battery's dead. I think plan A is to just drill and tap the hole. If that doesn't work, then I can always drill it again and then weld these in place. But I'd like to prevent welding if I can. Okay, that feels pretty secure. See if I can give you a good look at the threads. It looks like I can see like at least 3 threads in there, so I think it's going to be fine. Okay, there just so happens to be enough space underneath this bracket because I really want the alignment done on the perimeter, and it just so happens there's some space here. I'd probably end up putting washers in there just to prevent this bracket from being stressed up. So there's room to sneak a piece of metal in here to support this filter. So I'm finally getting to the point where I can make a bracket. Now here's the concept of this bracket. So there's one single hole here in the middle. That goes through the new bumper mount. There's a flange on the end that corresponds to this flange up here on the car. So that prevents it from rotating. The flange here is going to butt up to basically the flange that the seal goes into. And then it's going to have a tab that bends up on one side and then down on the other side. Little gusset corner on the edge. And then this will have a gusset on that edge too. Then the filter will go on just like this. So go on at an angle. So I pick up one of these holes right here and the other one right there. So it's gonna let it angle down slightly, but attach it with just one single bolt hole to the car. I guess no more plasma cutter was a big fat lie. Here we go again. I think I'll just bend this on the vise. I could put this in the press, but I got to move the dies all around. I don't really have a skinny die, so I think I'm just going to do this with the vise. Okay, so here's what we have so far. Pretty close to the template. Hopefully there's enough space to get those holes in, but I think this is going to be close enough. You can see I've just marked a couple lines on here to get it clocked in the right position so I can drill these holes and get some hardware in there. This is going to go underneath the bumper bracket and screw in right about there. The only thing left now to do is to overkill it, which is to put a gusset across here. This does flex a tiny bit, and I don't want this to vibrate and fall down. I mean, if this was to break off and drag in the street, I'd lose oil pressure immediately. So. Okay, here's the finished bracket. I did weld some bolts in here, which are kind of like studs now, so I don't need as many wrenches to get the oil filter attached. This hole here is the one that attaches it to the car, and the flange kind of prevents it from rotating. This is something I welded just to really stiffen this bracket so it doesn't vibrate and toggle around. That's it. And then the oil filter just slips right over the studs. It's going to get some nylock nuts on the back and some washers. Yeah, I was in a little hurry making this part, and I realized that I put this gusset on the wrong side. So that is not right. Yeah, this is supposed to go on this side. So I got to cut all this off and then weld it over here, which sucks. All right, I fixed it. It's now on the other side. I just zipped it off with the cutoff wheel and just used the same piece on the other side. You can still see a little bit of where this was welded before. If you like this bracket, just give this video a thumbs up. Now, these oil lines are too short. This is the one that comes right from the oil pump, and it's going to go in to this filter. So this is going to be a nice right angle. I'll just use the same fitting. I just need a longer hose. And I'm going to use a fire rated hose or fire sleeve or high temperature sleeve, whatever you want to call it. So this will connect to here, and then this is the return, and this will just get connected back up into here. And I think a right angle, the same fitting will work. I just, once again, need longer hoses. So unfortunately, I got to add hoses to the list. Okay, so it's another thing off the list. This was, mount the remote oil cooler, which is not a cooler, it's actually a filter. Cross it off no matter what. And then also down here, I'm not going to cross this off the list, but I did get some work done on the bumpers, getting them fit to the car. Of course, they need to be painted, but I'm going to run them in primer until I get the mojo back to do more sanding. Hope to see you again tomorrow.